and that sturdy mountain. I really feel like this forces Manalite to ban Fiora.
Yeah,
actually they could pick it. So
Manalite going to ban Cogmore as well. Again, they feel that is a very powerful champion. We saw it banned by Renegades last set, so it's going to be taken off the table here. Fiora definitely getting banned out.
Yeah.
You know, if you ban out two really solid top lane champions, you can't leave a singular dominant force left up. So maybe going to see some different picks in that top lane coming through now. Which will be kind of interesting, because I feel like having a bit of variety up there would not be a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think as well with the kind of lack of jungle and AD carry bans, it's going to open up that bottom half of the map a lot more to what we've seen in the past. Because I mean, we've seen in LCS as well a lot of like AD carry bans coming out to deny that Kalista, to deny the Corki, and I mean all of the different AD carries, Lucian, Ezreal, whichever ones they typically go for. We've seen games where all 4 of them have been banned out, and we see like the Caitlyn come in, we see the Jinx come in.
Yeah, so Kalista and Corki are gone here. That leaves Lucian, and we haven't yet seen an Ezreal, I don't think, in any of the games during the qualification tournament. Lulu left available, potentially going to be picked up here for Manalite, and they will first pick that Lulu. Very versatile champion. We have seen it picked and banned during the tournament so far. Maybe not 100% ratio, but pretty close to. Have left up Poppy and Nidalee though, so Fox going to get Nidalee. Furion forced onto another champion, and they leave that Poppy available.
So, well, I mean, we mentioned how Fox is a mid laner gone jungle now.
Yeah.
If he's been playing for a while and he's a mid laner, he is well versed in throwing Nidalee spears. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, means potentially going to see a Kassadin coming through here. Sona also seen a bit of play in solo queue as well. Maybe see Sona return to the fray of competitive play.
Lich main support.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of screen caps from people in post-game lobbies, just noting how much damage Sona can do with that Lich Bane. It's probably one of why she's one of the best ARAM champions in the game, because she just does do so much damage. Yeah,
and then the sustain that you get as well, and relatively low mana costs. It's kind of got everything you need for an ARAM, and also just fantastic at team fighting. But Sona's not going to be picked just yet, so let's talk about what we do have locked in. We've got a Lucian and a Braum going to be locked in here for Manalite. That is going to be their bottom lane. And I mean, we kind of talked to death about Lucian Braum. We know it's a fantastic matchup. Obviously, the passives kind of stack up together very nicely. Braum just a fantastic support currently, and Lucian just completely dominant in lane.
Yeah, Lucian does struggle with the Poppy, you see. In the later stages, if she can use her W, Steadfast Presence, I believe it's called, if she can use that, he can't use the dash. So a dash is a big part of Lucian's kit when using kiting. So, you know, given good positioning and good flanks, then a Reptor may be able to get on top of Lucian and force him into positions that he would otherwise be uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
But
well, we're going to see the Alistar and Tristana locked in, which means that the Poppy will be top lane. So guaranteed not to see that in support. We're going to be seeing that Alistar in support. Second, I think, time we've seen Tristana, and it was Lemon Knight that played it last time as well. Very aggressive Tristana that came out from Lemon Knight. Oh yeah, maybe a little bit too aggressive in certain situations. We saw him go very over the top with that rocket jump. I think it was like one jump that was kind of like, whoa, chill out a little bit here.
There was 2 jumps that I was a little bit concerned with yesterday. One where he jumped on top of a Vladimir and got himself killed, and there was another one under a turret. There
was one in that team fight where it was just like, oh, that was the Vladimir one. Kind of suicided.
What he is good at doing with Tristana is being aggressive enough on the turrets when it counts, because he's so good at pushing those turrets down with Tristana. We saw very quick turret taking from GLB yesterday. They were super impressive. And Loza picking up the Zillion. We saw XL torn apart by the Zillion from Half Past Thor yesterday. Just left it too long and he became an absolute monster. We saw Bjergsen, TSM, played Zillion last night.
He did.
So
to great effect as well.
Yeah, definitely
did an incredibly good job of baiting the LeBlanc out. Lots of times using that chrono shift. I can never remember whether it's chrono shift or chrono break. I think break is Ezreal and shift is Zillion. Anyway, my favourite champion's just been locked in. Rifty is going to be playing the Olaf top.
Yep, Olaf top going up against the Poppy. Good champion to play against Poppy as well. Trades quite effectively. I can actually beat her out in the early stages of the game because she had her early game nerfed.
Beat most people out in the early stages.
Olaf level 1 is probably one of the most difficult champions to deal with in the top lane, because Undertow does so much damage. The less health he gets, the more attack speed he gets. And then at level 2, he can pick up the Vicious Strikes or his W as well, and just allow him to either lifesteal or do a flat amount of true damage. Very difficult to deal with Olaf in that top lane. I'm looking forward to Rifty going toe-to-toe with a Reptor, because Poppy had her early game nerfed, and he's going to have to be careful. And more importantly, Olaf doesn't have any dashes, so he's never really going to be affected by that steadfast presence.
No. I mean, he gets pretty quick. He gets to the point where his movement speed in general feels like pretty much considered a dash. But yeah, no actual gap closers coming out from him. So very interested as well. We're going to see this Elise versus Nidalee matchup. This is something that we've seen consistently. And from the Premiership results alone, we've started to see Nidalee kind of taking the edge in this one in terms of early pressure.
Yeah, she's only lost one game, and I think that was Pariah,
yeah, I think so.
or along those lines, basically.
We've not got the stats being fed to us this week.
Not this time, but you know, she's only lost one game so far, so she's been very successful. This kind of play that we've seen from the tournament has rewarded the aggressive playstyle that Nidalee brings to the table, and because the games in general have been very snowbally, she's kind of got caught up in that snowball and become the kind of presence that we've learnt to fear from the Cougar. She's been a real, I guess, issue for most teams to deal with, and no one has effectively been able to 1v1 Nidalee. You know, the only champion in the game that probably can go toe-to-toe with Nidalee is that Elise, just because she has the tools to negate the damage that Nidalee can put down, or at least the the
Spiderlings often block the spears as well, which is a very useful little block, because I mean the spears do terrifying damage if they hit you at max range. Absolutely terrifying.
So I guess we should look at the two compositions from both Manalite and GLB. Manalite, they've got again, this is a bit akin to the very old style of, not old, I'd say a few months old now, when Dyrus is still on TSM.
Yeah, it was like
the Juggalath composition.
It was kind of just before Worlds at the finals.
Yeah, so what you would do is you would have the Olaf, you go Black Cleaver, then you start to go quite tanky. And then you just have the speed up from Lulu when he's proc that Ragnarok, and then obviously you can use the wild growth on him as well. It just becomes an absolute monster to deal with in team fights. And this is the kind of composition that you're seeing here. Very good in duels, very good in team fights as well. Can negate a lot of the CC. You know, the only CC that he's really going up against here is the charge from the Poppy, the double stun from the Zilean, and the Alistar CC that can provide also Buster Shot as well. So, you know, he should be able to tear through that if they've given the right circumstances. You know, Olaf does so well in small skirmishes, and given the right set of tools can do really well in team fights, and Lulu is one of those tools that he needs, because it provides everything that his kit doesn't, which is the protection.
Are you calling Lulu a tool?
Pardon? I know, but you do pick Lulu as a tool for your composition, as opposed to picking her for her own right. You know, she is a enabler.
She's a utility
midlaner. Most people would say that. So, you know, in these team fights, I expect you see Whimsy on top of Olaf, so he can run like an absolute bullet. Pop that Ragnarok, get through the CC, and then have wild growth just to keep him safe and healthy. You generally have him run in wild growth in the middle of the team to slow them down. Then the Undertow comes out, and then you start to do the damage that Olaf does. So very classic Juggalath composition. They have really good control over objectives as well. So I like this composition from Manalite. Just having a quick look respectively at the other composition then, Munchables.
Yep. So on the other side of the map, we're going to have Eruptor on that Poppy. So as well as a Nidalee, Zilean, Tristana, and Alistar. So kind of a bit of a mixed bag in this composition. Just quickly, before we head into the game, let's quickly shout out the hashtag we have going, ESL Prem. Let us know who you think is going to be able to take this one. We're always active on Twitter. I'm like completely blacked out on this side of the screen. I'm just going to let you take this since I'm just over in the shadow here. But we are onto the map anyway. Make sure you let us know who you think will win with the hashtag ESL Prem. But let's get into this first game of our second semi-final. It is going to be Manalite up against GLB Blue.
Yeah, and again, looking at the GLB Blue composition, they have pretty solid small skirmishes as well. You've got good protection with the Zilean using that chrono shift, obviously able to bring people back to life. It is like a guardian angel, but provides more life to you when you respawn. Raptor will be able to split push quite effectively. It kind of has decent siege as well. Zilean and Tristana, they're very, very good siege composition here, because obviously the Zilean, you saw it yesterday, if anyone watched the TSM game, Bjergsen would throw bombs behind the turret. Eruptor already going toe-to-toe with Rifty here, forced it out with those undertows. Reptar's going to back off, I imagine, pretty quickly here, stock up that.
And, that's just a perfect example of the level 1 power that we were talking about from Olaf. And he's barely even lost actually much mana from that one. Typically, Olaf does sort of struggle with mana issues in lane.
So really good siege, as I was saying, from GLB Blue, because they have the Poppy, which basically all you do with the Poppy is you wind that hammer up, you knock people away from the turret, you zone from behind the turret with the zillion bombs, and then you just allow the Tristana to just siege those turrets down. Obviously, Nidalee able to throw spears from the back line as well. So looking forward to potentially seeing some really good turret sieges coming out from GLB, but they have to make sure they don't get behind this skirmish and control competition that you've got coming out from the side of Manalite. You know, this Juggerlaugh can be really difficult to deal with, and you know, there isn't anyone there that can do consistent enough damage by the Tristana to deal with a rampaging Olaf, especially in that Ragnarok form.
No, absolutely not. We'll see what Rifty is going to be able to do about this one as he heads up towards this top lane. Looks like no kind of lane swap scenarios or shenanigans going to be coming out this game, just standard lanes. And I'm very intrigued to see how these junglers play this one, where the early pressure comes out from both these guys.
Yeah, I mean, Rifty looking to go toe-to-toe with the Reptar. He had that shield. This is what Olaf does. Consistently throws those undertows in.
Reptar's actually in a whole lot of trouble here. One more undertow will come out, gets the slow, and that forces the flash. A Reptar not going to be having a fun time in this lane.
He's going to teleport back immediately as well. That is exactly why you don't try and melee duel Olaf at level 1. He's just impossible to deal with. Probably one of the best level 1 champions in the game. Undertow does so much flat damage. It isn't reduced by going through minions either, which is what makes it so good. He slows you down, gets on top of you. As he loses health, he also becomes more threatening. So forced a Reptar out of lane already, made him use that teleport. Not the end of the world for a Reptar using teleport so early on. It may be back available by the time it's needed, especially since there is no lane swap here either. So you're expecting the laning phase to be slightly more extended than we would see in a lane swap scenario.
I'm so happy that Zilean's back in the meta. I really don't like the champion playstyle, but I just love the champion as a design. I think he's just hilarious. But Smiley was going to be in trouble until the pause came on through there. So not a whole lot to talk about just yet, except this huge CS lead that Smiley has started to build up in this bottom lane. And kind of unfortunately, Lemonite and Xyle are about to jump onto Smiley. With his summoners up, the odds are he's going to be able to escape this one. But look how many CS Lemonite will lose under tower for going for this trade.
Yeah, they got pushed in fairly hard here, and he's going to lose, well, yeah, you're right, 7 CS there, 6 CS?
Yeah, including in cannon.
Yeah, including in cannon, which is a fairly big one. So that could have buffed him back up to 14, which is only 3 CS down, which isn't awful. You know, it really depends what they get out of this trade that you're potentially just about to see when we should get back into game.
Oh, we are back into game. Smiley is going to be able to get the Relentless Pursuit away and doesn't even have to use a summoner. Lemonite missing
all
out
the CS basically. Yeah, I mean
he's going to get 2. Going to get 2 of those 7. So not fantastic.
No, and he lost the siege minion as well. Didn't force much out of Smiley. It's just the potion early on here. I think we have Braum rotating around. He's potentially going to catch the Alistair and the Nidalee here.
Yeah, here we go. Fox has been stunned up. They're going to bully the sub right now as the red buff ticks, and that's going to be the piercing light to finish him off. Xyle is just trying to escape right now. Does have the flash, and will get that speed up. Larson might just be able to finish with the Glare. Can he finish it? Oh, that's going to be the flash frozen thingy. I can't remember the name of the ability.
Winter's Bite.
Winter's Bite, that's it. I don't know why I said frozen, but that is going to be 2 kills regardless in favour of Manalite.
So we just got a nice thumbs up from our ESL Prem Grems. They said A star for casting Munch, which I completely agree with. But no, it was again super aggressive, nice rotation round from Hado to team up with Furion. And that's the kind of pressure that you can put onto Nidalee in the early game, because she is pretty squishy before she stacked up that Strength of the Ages, which is generally the mastery that we see taken. And they will lose their blue buff in the process as well. So Nidalee was a little bit behind in terms of buff taking. Furion, level 4 now, continuing to apply pressure. I think he even gets that small minion there. Denies more experience.
As well as the blue buff, which is pretty darn crucial when you're going to be playing that Elise.
There are no flashes at all available on the side, apart from the top lane. As a Reptar.
Oh my goodness, a Reptar in a whole lot of trouble. Does use that steadfast presence. Rifty not deciding to go for any kind of dive just yet, but regardless, just a Reptar struggling so much in this lane. Doesn't have that teleport available either.
No, Reptar, he just can't get close to Rifty. It is a very difficult lane matchup for the Poppy. Poppy just has to hope she can survive it and become useful later on. You saw there those vicious strikes really starting to hurt Ereptor.
But this is a very dangerous lane for both of them, and in fact he just goes for it and gets... Oh, I thought it was going to be an execute just there. It is going to be a 1-for-1 top laner for top laner, but here we go. Larssen could be in trouble here. Going to get the damage out onto Loza though, and that's going to be those concussive blows stacking up. They don't decide to go for either of them. That is the ignite used by Xyle though. Yeah,
this is a really difficult... I mean, difficult lane, because unless you have a high damage ganker that can come in and help the Zilean. Zilean's flat damage at this point in the game is pretty low. You know, you have the double bomb, and that's literally all you have for damage. You have auto attacks and the double bomb. The double bomb doesn't do enough damage to take the person down. You're never going to have enough damage in a singular gank to make it happen. You really need to rely on maybe on a Nidalee coming to help you here, who will provide that kind of flat damage to help the gank work out. You know, Zilean at this point in the game isn't that scary. He's scary over the laning phase because it's difficult to trade with him. But, you know, he's never going to one-shot someone with a double Doran's ring. You have to wait until he goes a little bit later into the game for that to happen. He's now level 6, so Chrono Shift is now available in these smaller skirmishes that could prove vital.
Yeah, I mean, in the larger skirmishes it will as well. Like Chrono Shift, such a huge tool for them to use. And I mean, it's one of those as well where you see massive team fights end, and if the Chrono Shift wasn't used, it's just so detrimental. Smiley having to use the heal at the last second there, and he's actually going to pick himself up a kill. Does end up going down slowly but surely, but a 1-for-1 when the enemy jungler is ganking, you're going to be more than happy with that one.
Exactly, and Smiley picks up the kill too. They actually thought that he was dead, so they started to focus down Hado and didn't count the fact that he had to pick up Xyle on the return kill there. Furion heading towards this top lane. They're going to try and put pressure on Ereptor, who has got his flash available again.
Oh, and Rifty... Ereptor's got no chance of escaping this one. How do you escape that charging Olaf? You charge the Elise underneath your tower, that's how. And Fury are taking so much damage, so close to going down, and it's going to mean that they can't dive this one. Questionable positioning there.
Loza's going to the top.
Furion. Oh, Loza is going in. That's going to be the time bomb, and in fact, he picks up a kill. That was the repel on cooldown. So, nice little roam from Loza.
Yeah, Loza, nice roam there. Picks up a kill for himself. So, good play by GLB Blue here. Very, very patient by Ereptor as well to make sure he survived that gank with the flash right at the end. Definitely not being a complete stomp as of yet. You know, Manalite probably the favourite coming into this. They have the winning record versus GLB Blue in our qualification tournaments, but I think GLB Blue have improved no end since I started to watch them in the early portions of our qualification tournament. And you can see here they're playing with a real map smarts, you know, and Rifty now the target for Fox.
Yeah, Fox not quite going to land that spear though, so it does have to back away from that one. And let's take a look at the CS numbers across the board. We do have a 10 CS lead in that mid lane. Jungle is going to be 10 CS in favour of GLB Blue, but then take a look up at this top lane. Almost double in favour of Rifty right now, and so far the story of the game really has been kind of skirmishes in the bot lane and Rifty bullying Ereptor.
Yeah, and we have to take into account the passive from Loza as well. I'll be interested to know who he has been giving his extra experience to. I believe it's probably going to be Foxwolf, as they seem to be meeting up a little bit more often than not. I was expecting maybe something to happen on the back to give something to Alistair, but I think he's been donating his experience to Fox, as Fox has managed to keep up or get ahead in levels quite effectively, as well as having a big CS advantage. So we'll have to see. Well, I'm kind of interested to see where this experience is going from Loza.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll have to see. In the after game, I don't know if you can even find that out on the after game statistics. I'm not 100% sure, but it does look to be Fox anyway, as Furion still only level 6. A bit of a duel going on in the mid lane. Larssen looks like he might have DC'd actually, as we do see a pause coming on out, and he has stood in a very bizarre place in the lane with his jungler not too close by. So yeah, that is the DC. Yeah, it does have his wild growth and it does have his flash, so I would think he'll be able to escape from this one regardless of the situation. But across the board, while Manalite do have about 1,000 gold lead, it's certainly not decided at this point. Definitely could go either way.
We're back into the game as well. Larssen just able to tank a bomb, but should be able to get away with that whimsy on himself there. Loza just looking to apply pressure. It's so difficult to deal with Zileans in lane because they have so much zone control. And that double stun is very difficult to avoid as well if they are very good with the bomb throwing ability. And even if they... see there, Larssen is just forced away from the CS as that bomb is just going to do so much damage if you pick it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And just completely zones you away. And Here we go. Fox is coming down into this bottom lane. He's looking for Smiley. The shield goes the wrong way from Haddo, though. Smiley getting incredibly low, but he turns it around on Fox. Cullen coming on through. Can't quite finish off that Cougar. And now, with Fury in lane, the Buster shot going to deny everything. Nicely shot there by Lemonite. We saw him deny a gap closer with that yesterday as well.
Yeah, great. And again, over-aggression by Fox. You're still a very squishy champion there. You have to really respect that Lucian Braum lane. When you have that stun there, it does a lot of damage when you manage to proc it as well. So be a little bit more careful when you're going for these ganks, because again, Haddo overextended. Interestingly enough, again, the shield was pointed the wrong way from Haddo. It's something that we're seeing quite often from him. Rifty and Ereptor going toe-to-toe here.
Death right now. They're both getting pretty darn low. This is kind of a very risky fight for both sides. Actually, it's going to be Ereptor looking to try and win this one out. Can't quite keep up to Rifty, though. Does just Ragnarok his way out of lane. That's going to be Loza heading back to base as well. Does have that teleport, though. So should anything happen, he will be able to get back to that action pretty quickly.
Although Loza obviously has zone control in the lane, he is 20 CS down to Larssen right now, whether that be due to his roam or having to teleport back to lane earlier on because he had pressure.
Part of it as well is just down to Zilean as a champion is relatively difficult to CS on. Unless you can put a lot of practice into that, you're going to start to lose those CS. And you'll see players like Bjergsen who have played a million games on every single champion. Oh, Fox getting caught out actually here. Look at the damage coming out. Nice chrono shift. It's going to come out from Loza, getting those time bombs out as well. And Fox is just going to escape on just under half of his HP. So nice little save there. In the meantime, in this bottom lane, take a look at the zoning coming out from Lemonite and Xyle.
Yeah, actually forced the flash from Larssen and the ignite as well. So 2 summoners burnt there for just a chrono shift from Loza. So good trade here for GLB Blue. Manlight, they're starting to stretch the gold lead out. They just have CS advantages in almost every lane. So apart from that, even in that bot lane, they have the advantage too. So those CS advantages are starting to be a real issue. Lemon Knight potentially going to try and get on top of Haddo, who has got his ultimate.
Yeah, speaking of the bottom lane, here we go. The Cullen going to come out. Xyle should be able to tank most of that, not really struggling too much in that Triumphant Roar. Oh, sorry, that Unbreakable Will, in fact, will keep him pretty much topped off. And they're going to be able to disengage that pretty comfortably. Furion
has been really good at reacting and getting on these counter ganks, especially in that bot lane. Has been always there whenever Fox has looked for something to happen. The only real successful ganks that I've seen has been Loza going towards that top lane. So it's been really, good peace and presence of mind for Furion to be reacting in the right way. Look at some deep vision coming down now. You can see good wards in the GLB blue side jungle. Well, both red and blue side jungle from GLB Blue. So Manlight lighting things up very nicely. Not having the same kind of vision control coming out from GLB Blue, though.
Oh, nice little force away by Xyle and Lemonite to make sure that those CS do end up underneath that tower. So Haddo not going to be able to protect those for his AD carry. I like to see those little things coming into play. Up in the top lane, Ereptor actually does manage to get a kill. I completely missed that fight, but yet again, another ridiculous 1v1 between these top laners.
It looked like he went for the dive, and Ereptor again. Ereptor has outplayed a lot of people on dive situations this game so far. Again, I think it's one of those champions, a bit like Jax. Just don't dive a Poppy. It's just not worth it because she can turn things around so easily. And actually, they're going to potentially give a lot of pressure into this bottom lane turret. It looked like the GLB Blue bot lane had the jump on the turret pressure and damage, but it does look like it's going in favor of the Manlight side now as the Tristana returns to lane with that Zeal, looking to finish up her attack speed item before she finishes the Infinity Edge. Lucian having finished that Essence Reaver already, that gives him a small spike. They may even lose the turret on this push here. It's very low HP now and have a siege minion wave coming towards.
They do indeed. Xyle might just try and go for the engage purely to deny the damage onto this tower. It is incredibly low though, so it's certainly not going to last many more waves, that is for sure here. And just look at this, constantly pushing out, and Smiley's not even struggling for mana right now. He keeps on piercing light the wave, but that's about the only ability he's using at the minute.
Loads of defensive wards here around the blue side jungle from GLB Blue. 3 pink wards in the same area, just protecting the entrances. They must know that this bot lane turret is at risk as Xyle...
Oh, Xyle in a whole lot of trouble. Is going to use that ultimate though. Will keep him alive, but that will secure this tower. Oh, they don't get the last auto attack. They're 1 away, and in fact Furion has joined the fight as well. Looks to be a bit of a 3v3 down in this bottom lane, but I would expect this fight to basically end here as Smiley, again, doesn't go for the auto attack, and he is going to get caught out. And a pause comes on through as the fight begins. What a disaster.
Yeah, we'll have a couple of pauses in this game thus far. So we are just waiting to see what's going on. I think Larsen's been having some issues with his connection and internet, so just double checking that everything's okay.
Yeah, unlock coming out there. Well, take a look. I'm not sure that's quite the correct hashtag there. ESL Prem Grem, the production crew, just wanting to get in on the action here. But I mean, across the board, this has been a relatively even game. We've got 1,500 gold lead in favour of Manalite. Larsen struggling a little bit in terms of connection. Just going to be trying to get back into this game. But this fight has just kicked off once again. Smiley is going to go down as it looked like he would. But Lemonite might just be caught out here. Furion trying to get onto him. The damage is coming through as you guys just watch me commentate. Fox manages to get the kill though. And he's going to be able to jump away. Lemonite trying to body block Haddo. And he's going to be successful in doing so. Look at the damage coming through here. One more auto will pick it up. And Lemonite with 3 kills on the board already.
Yeah, absolutely huge gank here for GLB Blue. They managed to turn it around fantastically. That was some brilliant play from Fox on the Nidalee, able to just juggle the aggro and the damage onto that champion and keep herself alive. She knew she could commit to the Elise as well. That was really good play from Fox. He committed very hard to the Elise, knowing that he was on low health, because if they could burst the Elise, they only had Haddo left to deal with, and that gave Lemon Knight the time he needed to get the damage down onto him, and they also get the turret for their labors as well. So despite losing their turret in that gank to the minions, they return with a turret of their own and have taken the gold lead. So fantastic play from GLB Blue. They are definitely bringing their A game to this best of 3 series here. They really want to qualify for the ESL Premiership.
Yeah, they absolutely do, and I mean, as they should. All of the teams here today do want to try and get through and try and head towards that challenge or wildcard slot. But we'll have to see whether they're going to be able to make it. Take a look at this. The Dragon is going to be started off by Fox and Xyle, and I would think they'll be able to take this one pretty much for free here. A bit of a lane swap has come out now from Manalite. They're going to send Smiley and Haddo up towards this top lane now that they've got that bottom tower down, and send Rifty down to the bottom lane.
Yeah, we're going to send Rifty down there, start pushing this by himself. I think he's been struggling in the 1v1. Well, not struggling in the 1v1 versus a Raptor.
So I don't think he's doing too bad. But here we go. A Raptor has been caught up. Look at the chain CC. Furion picks himself up a kill. Lemonite trying to do what he can, but he's not going to be able to finish anyone off here. In the meantime, though, Fox has come into this middle lane. Larsen sidesteps that spear. And this is the thing, if you can dodge that javelin throw, you're going to be just about fine from these Nidalee ganks. But top lane, Lemonite tanking up that culling. He is going to go down in the end. Xyle just misses his combo barely. The stun comes out from Loza though. He's looking to get onto Smiler. Haddo is incredibly low. Rifty on this front line is going to Ragnarok away, and he is going to get that time bomb. Wild Growth might just save his life though, and look at this. Absolute chaotic fight. Xyle goes back in. He hits the combo this time, and that's going to be Furion dropping. Smiley jumps back into the fray though as Loza gets that chrono shift back onto himself. Rifty goes down. Loza looking for the kill onto the Haddo, and it looks like he's going to be able to get it. In the meantime though, the AD carry of GLB was shut down by the Lulu. Larsen managing to find an assassination. Yeah, but it's 3 for 1, and they should be able to get the return on this top lane turret that they just lost. This is the kind of small skirmishes that go in favour of the GLB Blue side. If they have the time to allow Loza to continuously provide bombs, and to be honest, the main reason they won was that massive 3-man stun that they got under the turret of the top lane. It was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you give Loza to get enough time to get that much AoE damage across the board, then they will obviously win the fights. I mean, there's nothing else there. Loza just got a great stun. And after that, it was all downhill for the Manalite side. Unfortunately, Rifty, despite having Ragnarok, couldn't manage to get away. No. And they may be able to get some damage onto this mid lane turret here. I don't think Lemon Knight's going to get here in time. Larsen should be able to pressure this one down. So not all doom and gloom. They should be able to regain their gold lead if they do take this turret down. Nope. Looks like that is going to be denied, though. Lemonite does arrive on the scene in time, and I think the scary thing right now for Manalite is Zilean does horrendously scary damage late on in the game. He's already making a huge impact. Loza is doing fantastically on this Zilean. He's only just got his Rod of Ages 4 minutes ago. He's got his CDR boots, and that's about all he's got for himself. Well on the way towards that Morello, but still hasn't finished that one off. So, I mean, later on in this game, that Zilean is really going to become an issue.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the more and more they get caught in those swingman stands. And what's so interesting about this composition from Manalite is actually they kind of play into the Zilean's boundaries, which is that they want to be... It's kind of like a Sivir composition in the sense they all barrel in when the Olaf has got that Ragnarok and the buffing from the Lulu. They kind of all follow the Olaf through the team. You know, they need to make sure they're keeping up with him to provide him that protection and the support to his damage. That is the kind of team that Loza wants to play into, because if people run at him, it makes it far easier to land those really crucial stuns. And he's got really good wave clearers here as well, so they're going to keep continuously forcing this mid lane turret, but Loza will just continue to attempt to clear the minion wave with those bombs.
Yeah, absolutely, and here we go. Pushing towards this mid lane tower. They do have that Rift Arrow buff, but obviously will not increase the HP. Rifty going for the dive down in this bottom lane. Lemonite is going to be able to jump away, but the flash out of Rifty and just executes that AD carry. As I go into some semitones that I shouldn't be hitting, Fox is going to be able to get the counter kill though.
Yeah, again, Lemonite couldn't use the Buster Shot because Ragnarok was available. Had to use the heal, didn't work out. They may lose this mid lane turret here.
Oh, Fox gets caught by a cocoon though, and Smiley looking to do the damage. Very aggressive AD carry play out of this Lucian. Ereptor trying to get onto this front line. The culling is going to be fully blocked by Xyle. That will protect his team. And actually, Ereptor misses his ultimate. Look at this kiting from Smiley. It's not quite enough though. Loza is going to go down, but the Chrono Shift is available. That means Xyle will drop though. Now Larson is looking for more. A beautiful stun comes out of Loza, and that is going to deny any further engage. But overall, I think a 2 for 2.
Yeah, again, without the Tristana, there isn't that sort of consistent damage, as Larson very aggressive on the Lulu. Without the Tristana, you don't have the consistent damage to back up the CC and burst damage that Loza provides on this Zilean. So you need the Tristana to be there in the fights, because even though Ereptor is great, he can be kited pretty significantly by the Lulu. You know, once you slow that puppy down, she has no other real means to get on top of her target. She has to be pretty close to use that charge that she has, and you saw it there. She had to flash onto XD Smiley and very almost got killed by him as he tried to kite himself away. So it's a difficult champion to make work. A lot of it relies on coming into the fights on, you know, flanking positions. You can't run straight at a team because it's difficult to lock them down, especially versus a Lulu and a Braum. So have to be a little bit careful here, but again, it is a fight that probably should have gone well in favor of GLB, but sorry, Manalite, but GLB managed to get some return kills again with a beautiful double stun to stop anything too horrific happening on that mid lane turret.
So interesting that we just see Loza giving over some XP to Xyle, leveling up their support. That is going to mean that he is now level 11 though, so gets the second level up on his ultimate ability. So that is going to be a pretty influential level up, to be quite honest. If they want to force a fight for this dragon, Xyle is now going to be that extra bit tankier.
Yeah, so he's the only member of the team of GLB Blue who hadn't yet hit that second ultimate level. So good idea to give him, because Haddo is now level 9. So Zilean just allowing the support level advantage to be available for GLB, and Xyle, you can see he's getting those base stats increases as he gets the level up, and that ultimate level up will be very, very beneficial. Rod of Ages also finished on the Nidalee. That's a pretty big thing. Nidalee.
Yeah, talking about big things, we're going to see the fight kicking off. Fox tanking a lot of that culling. Teleport is going to be channeled here by Ereptor. We're going to see the disengage for now. I believe only culling was used. That's the only ultimate that's going to be down. Not the biggest teamfight ultimate, though.
MVP Loza once again picks up a double stun across 3 members of the Manalite side. They're actually going to push onto this mid lane turret, and maybe going to see a flank engage coming out from GLB Blue, force the Manalite team away from this turret. They're not going to get anything for it as Ereptor runs in.
This is a strange split coming out from Manalite. Don't agree with this one. Haddo going to be tanking up a decent amount of damage. That's going to be a 3-man knockup that he does get, but Lemonite going in for Smiley. He's looking for the jewel, and he's going to be winning it at this rate. Flash has to come out. Now Ereptor is going to be on this front line. Good stun comes out. Final auto attack from Furion. Chained that with a cocoon, but they just don't have the follow-up to get onto him. Well kind of kited around, though, by Manalite.
Yeah, they did force the flash from both AD carries there. Smiley and Lemonite had to flash as Lemonite went aggressive and Smiley had to get out. But again, you see the damage that Rifty's doing. They can't deal with the Olaf right now. They don't have the damage to deal with the Olaf. He's picked up that Black Cleaver and now has that Dead Man's Plate. So he is a significant threat at this point in time. He's the only one that can really run straight through the stuns that Zilean has and potentially be a nuisance to the backline of the GLB blue lineups. Rifty's kind of the core of this composition now coming through from Manalite. Yes, Smiley's going to have an impact, but really they are designed to make Olaf a threat, as Larson is just going to whimsy himself to get away from a roaming cow.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be able to get away with that one. And let's take a quick stock of our inventories right now. We've got about a 3,000 gold lead in favor of Manalite. So they are still doing a good job. While these fights certainly seem to be going in favor of GLB, Loza really being the highlight player right now, for me at least. But Manalite are slowly but surely starting to eke this one out. Massive CS leads in all lanes right now. You've got the AD carry about 40 ahead, as well as the other lanes. But Rifty actually has been caught out a little bit by Eruptor, who's looking to get this 1v1. The rest of the team starting to collapse. But again, the disengage coming out. Furion just throwing out Spiderlangs and dodging those spears. Eruptor, he's looking for more fights, though. He ain't done just yet.
No, he's picked up that Frozen Fist as well. Rifty forced to use Ragnarok.
Rifty, I'm not quite sure on this position. It does end up using that ultimate. Zyle going to completely tank the culling there with his own ultimate. And look at this, Haddo not caught in a great spot right now. Going to use his shield, but will be able to jump to the rest of his team. Zyle doesn't have his tankiness available right now. Eruptor on this front line is going to get stunned up, and they're going to jump straight onto him. Nice block on the Q from Elise. And again, these teams just seem to be so good at disengaging from these fights.
Slight misplay by Zyle there. Used the combo on the minions instead of using the combo on the champions, which could have potentially saved Manalite from a very scary situation right there. So I feel like Zyle's done this a lot this game. He's been very hit and miss with these Alistair combos. Despite Riot making it slightly easier to hit them, he's been hitting them on the wrong targets. But yeah. Oh, it's so tense between these two teams right now. Manalite have the slight advantage just because they have that turret over the side of GLB Blue, and they have the experience and CS advantage across the lane. They've got a 60 CS advantage in the AD carry position. They've got a 60 CS advantage or more in the top lane, and a 40 CS advantage in that mid lane. So they've managed to accrue their gold through literal creep score advantages across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And doing a very good job of it so far, but we'll see whether they can kind of turn the tide of these fights, because it certainly felt like, while most of the fights have been disengaged, in terms of map presence, GLB seem to be kind of winning out. They've got those two dragons for themselves, but they are a tower down, and it feels like the next few minutes are going to decide a whole lot about this game. I don't think the gold lead and I don't think the tower lead is really too big of a deal at this stage. These next few fights are going to be absolutely crucial.
You're very right, Munch, and I think Zyle needs to step up his ability to land the combos on the right targets here, because that's been a real issue, I feel, for the GLB squad. Eruptor has been having a pretty decent time. He's made some pretty good stuns with his charge, but, you know, maybe Manalite are starting to change their tactics up here. They're going to start to look to split push with the Olaf, because actually people are starting to realise that Rifty's pretty hard to deal with. Despite being 2-1 and 4, he's got a huge creep score and got some very crucial items, so he's going to try and deal with Eruptor by himself as the side of Manalite look to rotate and just sort of move across the map, siege things left, right and centre. So you can see Eruptor there losing out on the 1v1 quite heavily to Rifty, who has got that inbuilt sustain.
But then other 1v1s between these guys, we've seen Rifty on the back foot, so it definitely seems like a matchup that can sort of go either way a little bit at this stage in the game. Raptor just taking huge chunks of damage, though, from that smite. I think it's called Vicious Reckless Swing. Reckless Swing, that's what it's called. Not cast Olaf for quite a while, but Rifty going to narrowly dodge that spear coming out from Fox. And Manalite, they're certainly kind of in control of where they want to be in the map right now, but they don't seem to be able to find a foothold in terms of actually pushing.
I actually think Manalite have a serious advantage here, because the GLB Blue are being run ragged. They are actually been reveling in these team fights because it's something that they do slightly better, I suppose, with the addition of Zilean.
Oh, Larson is looking for the fight onto Loza, doing a good job. The nice polymorph with Ignite is going to take him on down, but does escape with about 300 HP. Doesn't even have to use Chrono Shift either, but this should secure them a mid lane tower, and they already got the bottom tier 2. Zyle going to tank up that culling once more. Certainly the target that they want to be tanking that ability up. But a nice 2 towers easily picked up by Manolite.
Again, they've gone to a different style of tactic here. They realize that they are losing or close to losing a lot of these skirmishes and team fights. They've now resorted to allowing Rifty to split push that side lane. You could see there he was putting a lot of pressure onto a Raptor and just allowed his team to run back and forth. I feel like there isn't really any engage apart from Xyle in that 4-man squad of GLB without the Raptor. Raptor really has been that driving force behind the engages from GLB. So you remove him from the picture, GLB are kind of a little bit at loss at what to do when they are being sieged upon by the Manolite squad. And Manolite came away with 2 turrets, secured themselves a 6k gold advantage here. So starting to rack things up. They're even going to get, I believe, their first dragon of the game here.
Yeah, they are going to be able to grab that for themselves. So that's 6% AD and AP going to be coming into play, and that's going to level the playing field ever so slightly in terms of these team fights. And it's actually, I would argue, going to tilt it slightly in favor of Manolite because they have 6,000 gold ahead of their opponents right now. And look at this, Baron going to be kicked off here by GLB. I feel like this is a very desperate play coming out from them because it's clearly spotted out by Manolite. They're still going to keep going at it. It's still got half HP. Rifty coming on into this fight. Look at the damage that this Baron is doing to everyone. Xyle incredibly low. Larson is going to be having to use his wild growth on himself, but look at the health bars. That's a piercing light that just annihilates people. Chronoshift going to be used onto himself right there as Loza just going to try and escape this fight, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Very questionable Baron coming out. Loza so close to going down. Larson looking to finish this one off. One more undertow will do it from Rifty, throwing that one over the wall. And honestly, GLB pretty much giving this Baron to Manolite.
2 really important things there. GLB start the Baron because they see Lucian split pushing bot. They think they can take it in time. But you've got to remember, the only person doing consistent damage to the Baron will be the Tristana. They don't exactly have a super quick Baron team here. They focus the Baron. They try to disengage. The engage from Xyle was so late. He was basically dead by the time he applied some form of CC. And you saw the flash from Lemonite. He thought he was putting himself in an advantageous position and then could jump back over the wall with his rocket jump as he took out, I believe it was Furion or Larson on the side. But he didn't realize that actually Smiley was coming into flank from that side of things. So he flashed right into the path of Smiley. You know, that was too indecisive from GLB. I think they should have been using it as a bait as opposed to really seriously attempting the Baron there. Yeah. Basically gave it away for free after that because they took so much damage. And there was a singular Glitter Lance from Larson that hit 4 members of GLB in that Baron pick, and that was what took them really low. Then they took a bit more damage from Baron as well. So poor decision making from GLB. They should have instantaneously peeled off the Baron and looked for the engage as soon as GLB got close.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is, I mean, this is putting GLB in a really tricky situation now because Manolite were already on the front foot sieging these towers. Now they're 12,000 gold up with a Baron doing the same thing. And now they're pushing on towards these inhibitor towers. Look at this top tower already. Larson doing a fantastic job of just pushing this one down, and he has in fact finished that one off. And now look at this. They've sent 2 people up towards the top lane. So now the rest of the team is going to push on towards this mid lane tower. That's 2 inhibitor towers already taken. Xyle going to force this engage. Going to be able to use that unbreakable wall. Nice knock up coming out from the Haddo, but can they do anything with it? Smiley picks up a kill onto Lemonite, and this is looking like it might just be curtains, to be quite honest. Xyle stacking up that passive eruptor, trying to do what he can, but he just can't finish off Smiley, who gets a double kill. He's looking for a triple, in fact. And over in the back line, we see the rest of the lineup from GLB get completely aced with Baron on board, and with this huge minion wave, this looks like it might just be game for Manolite.
This will indeed be game for Manolite. They will take the first game of the series here against GLB Blue, and what looked like such a close game. For 25 minutes, they were neck and neck, and then a series of events, unfortunately, you could say on series of unfortunate events, unfortunately led to the demise of GLB Blue. Right there, you saw exactly why they needed a little bit more time on the side of the competition. With the Lulu, it's very difficult to get Poppy to the back line, especially if she's coming in straight from the front. That's why you